Hello, treasure hunters and coin collectors. Today, I've got a story for you that might make you want to check your couch cushions, old piggy banks, or that forgotten jar of coins in the back of your closet. Imagine this: a single penny, yes, a lowly 1 cent piece, worth a staggering $2 million. You heard that right. Today, we're talking about the elusive 2002 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that has collectors buzzing. Come on. How can a penny be worth millions? Did it come with a genie or a treasure map? Stick around, and I'll tell you why this little coin is a rock star in the numismatic world, how it got its jaw-dropping value, and, most importantly, how you might just stumble across one yourself. But first, let me tell you how I almost missed a golden, or should I say copper, opportunity with a rare penny of my own a few years ago. I was cleaning out my car, and I found a dusty old penny stuck between the seats. It looked a little different, but I didn't think much of it and threw it into a tip jar at my local coffee shop. Fast forward a week later, and I saw a YouTube video about rare coins. One of the pennies featured looked oddly familiar. Yep, you guessed it. I'd tipped away a potentially rare coin. If only I had known then what I know now. Always check your change. All right, let's dive into the story of the 2002 no mint mark Lincoln penny. First things first, why no mint mark? Coins typically have a tiny letter stamped on them to show where they were made. D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or no mark at all for Philadelphia. But in the case of this 2002 penny, the absence of a mint mark isn't because it was made in Philly. It's because of an error, and coin collectors love errors. This penny was accidentally struck without a mint mark, making it an ultra-rare find. Think of it as a typo in coin form. And just like a rare misprint in a book, it's worth a fortune to the right collector. So, why is it worth $2 million? It comes down to supply and demand. There are so few of these coins in existence. Experts believe only a handful made it out of the mint that they're practically mythical. Add in the fact that it's a relatively modern coin, and you've got a recipe for a collector's dream. These coins often go through rigorous grading processes to verify their authenticity and condition. A pristine, uncirculated 2002 no mint mark penny recently fetched over $2 million at an auction. Imagine finding one in your change and realizing you're holding onto the equivalent of a luxury sports car. Crazy, right? Now, here's how you can maximize your chances of finding one. First, get in the habit of checking your pocket change. It sounds simple, but you'd be amazed at what people overlook. Second, invest in a good magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Some coin details are tiny, and you don't want to miss a potential jackpot because you're squinting too hard. Third, educate yourself on coin grading and values. The more you know, the better your chances of spotting a gem. And lastly, join online coin forums or local collector groups. These communities are full of people who are happy to share their knowledge and stories. Plus, it's always good to have a second pair of eyes. So there you have it, the fascinating tale of the 2002 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. A tiny coin with a massive value. Who knew that a humble penny could make you a millionaire? Just think, the next time you're digging through your spare change for a parking meter, you could be holding a small fortune without even realizing it. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins that could make you rich, strategies for spotting valuable collectibles, or just some fun, fascinating stories, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you'll never miss a tip that could change your life, or at least your wallet. And hey, drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you're going to start checking your change. I'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for watching, and remember, one person's spare change could be another person's treasure. Imagine this, finding a penny worth $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single, ordinary-looking, 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark could make you an instant millionaire. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, buckle up because today, we're diving into the fascinating story of this little copper coin that's caused quite a buzz in the coin collecting world. Now, before you dismiss this as one of those too good to be true tales, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was sorting through my loose change. You know, the jar we all have, where pennies go to retire, and I found a coin that looked a little different. Spoiler alert. It wasn't worth $1 million, but that moment sent me down a rabbit hole of learning about rare coins. And let me tell you, There are treasures hiding in plain sight. So, stick with me, and by the end of this video, you'll know what makes this penny so special, how to identify one, and whether you might be sitting on your own $1 million jackpot. Alright, first things first, what's the deal with the 2016 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny? To understand its value, we need to break it down. Let's talk about mint marks. For those of you new to coin collecting, a mint mark is a tiny letter on a coin that tells you where it was made. Common mint marks include D for Denver, P for Philadelphia, and S for San Francisco. But here's the kicker. A penny with no mint mark was also minted in Philadelphia, yet some special examples from 2016 were produced with rare errors. These errors could be anything from a double die, a coin where the design was stamped twice, to off-center strikes or even coins made with a mix of unusual materials. Think of these errors as the oops moments of the coin world. But instead of throwing them away, collectors cherish them. The rarer the mistake, the higher the value. Now, you might be wondering, how does one of these pennies fetch a cool $1 million? That's where the perfect storm of rarity and demand comes in. For starters, there are only a handful of verified 2016 no mint mark pennies with these rare errors. Combine that with the fact that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for unique finds, and boom, $1 million penny. Let me give you a quick pro tip here. If you're digging through your coin jar or change drawer, grab a magnifying glass or even your phone's camera. Look at the date, inspect the edges, and pay attention to the lettering. A doubling effect on the letters or numbers is a big giveaway. And hey, if you spot anything unusual, don't just toss it back into circulation. Do some research or take it to a professional grader. Now, let's lighten the mood with a quick story. A friend of mine, let's call him Dave, was so inspired by stories like this that he started hoarding pennies. I mean, this guy couldn't pass a fountain without fishing out every last coin. One day, he came to me all excited, thinking he found a rare one. Turns out, it was just a dirty penny that had spent too much time in the rain. We had a good laugh about it. But hey, you never know until you look, right? So, what's the moral of today's story? That little penny you're about to overlook might just be a hidden gem. Sure, not every 2016 no mint mark Lincoln penny will make you rich, but the thrill of the hunt is half the fun. Plus, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. Go grab a handful of coins, take a close look, and see if you can find something special. Who knows? You might just uncover a piece of history, or at least a great story to tell. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my future videos about coins worth serious cash, tips for identifying rare finds, and strategies to build your collection without breaking the bank. And if you've already found a rare coin or have a story to share, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for watching, and remember, every penny counts, especially when it might be worth $1 million. You're rummaging through your spare change, looking for a quarter to feed the parking meter, and bam, there it is, a humble penny. But wait, what if I told you that penny could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.1 million? Sounds crazy, right? Well, stick around because today we're diving deep into the 2006 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's taking the coin world by storm. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this penny so special, how to spot one, and how to cash in big if you've got one lying around. Plus, I'll share a little story about my own almost missed it coin find that still makes me cringe to this day. Let's get into it. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 2006 penny features good old Abraham Lincoln, as usual. But here's the kicker. Some pennies minted in 2006 were accidentally struck without a mint mark. That little P, D, or S that tells us where the coin was minted, gone. And while that might sound like a minor oops, in the coin collecting world, it's a huge deal. Why? Because errors like this are rare, and rarity equals value. These no mint mark pennies are considered modern-day treasures and have collectors scrambling to find them. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how do I know if I have one? First, check the date. It has to say 2006.2. Flip that penny over and take a good look under the year. If there's no mint mark, you might just be holding the golden ticket. Third, check the condition. A coin in pristine condition, also known as mint state, is worth significantly more. If your penny is all scratched up and looks like it's been through a garbage disposal, it might not fetch the full $1.1 million. But hey, it could still be worth a pretty penny, pun intended. So, what's driving this insane price tag? It all boils down to supply and demand. There are only a handful of these no-mint Mark 2006 pennies known to exist, and serious collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. Think of it like this. They're the rare Pokemon cards of the coin world. Alright, let me share a quick story. A few years back, I was cleaning out my junk drawer. You know, the one that has everything from paper clips to old batteries. Anyway, I found this weird-looking coin that seemed a little off. I thought, meh, it's just a dirty penny, and tossed it back into the pile. Fast forward a month later, I saw a news article about a rare penny selling for tens of thousands of dollars. My heart sank faster than a lead balloon. Was that my penny? I'll never know because I spent it on a soda at the gas station. Always check your coins before spending them. Get the coin authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Avoid cleaning it. Cleaning a coin can damage it and lower its value. Once authenticated, you can auction it off through platforms like Heritage Auctions or even eBay. Alright, my friends, there you have it. The incredible story of the 2006 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Who knew a little copper coin could make such a big splash? So, before you toss that spare change in the tip jar or the couch cushions, take a closer look. You might just be sitting on a life-changing fortune. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to smash that like button. And if you're hungry for more tips on coins worth money and strategies for spotting hidden treasures, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching and happy treasure hunting. What if I told you that an ordinary penny sitting in your change jar could be worth a staggering $1.2 million? That's right, just 1 cent turning into $1 million jackpot. Sounds like something out of a Hollywood movie, right? Well, today we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. Not only are we going to break down why it's worth so much, but I'm also going to share a personal story about my own coin hunt that might just inspire you to go digging through your couch cushions after this video. Grab your magnifying glass and get comfortable. This could be the most valuable 40 minutes of your life. Alright, first things first, what's the big deal about this penny? In 1982, the US Mint was making some big changes. They decided to switch from using copper to zinc for pennies because copper prices were skyrocketing. During this transition, they minted coins with both copper and zinc compositions. That's where things got tricky. Now here's the kicker. A small batch of Lincoln pennies from 1982 was accidentally minted without the P mint mark, the little letter that tells you where the coin was made. These coins were like stealth ninjas. They snuck into circulation unnoticed. Years later, collectors discovered them, and boy, did their value skyrocket. One of these coins recently sold for $1.2 million. That's a lot of zeros for something you might have overlooked in your pocket change. You're probably wondering, could I have one of these pennies? Well, let's find out. The coin needs to say 1982 on it. Obvious, right? No mint mark under the date. If there's a D or an S, sorry, no jackpot for you. Here's the tricky part. You'll need to weigh it. Copper pennies weigh about 3.11 grams, while zinc ones are lighter at 2.5 grams. If it's copper and has no mint mark, congratulations, you might be holding a small fortune. And if you're like me and don't have a fancy coin scale, don't worry. I once tried using my kitchen scale, and let's just say I learned that it's not a good coin scale is worth the investment if you're serious about coin hunting. Speaking of coin hunting, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I went through an entire coffee can of pennies that my grandfather had saved. I spent hours hunched over the kitchen table with a magnifying glass, hoping to find a rare gem. Spoiler alert, I didn't find a 1982 no-mint mark penny, but I did find a 1943 steel penny worth about 50 bucks. Not bad for something I almost tossed into a Coinstar machine. It's not just about the money. There's something thrilling about the hunt itself. Each coin has a story to tell, and every time you find something unusual, it feels like uncovering a tiny piece of history. Oh, let's talk money. As of today, the 1982 no-mint mark penny is valued at a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. That's not just collector hype. It's backed by serious demand from numismatists, fancy word for coin collectors, around the world. The scarcity of this coin, combined with its historical significance, makes it one of the most sought-after pieces in the coin collecting world. The chances of finding one are slim, but not impossible. Remember, someone had to discover the first one. Why not you? All right, my fellow treasure hunters, we've covered a lot today. From the unique story behind the 1982 no-mint mark penny to tips on identifying it, and even a little insight into my own coin hunting adventures. If there's one takeaway from this video, it's this. Don't underestimate the power of small things. That penny in your pocket might just be the key to your million-dollar dream. So, what's next? It's time to grab your change jar, head to your attic, or visit your grandparents' house and start searching. And hey, if you strike gold, or copper in this case, come back and let me know in the comments. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got tons of videos coming up on rare coins, valuable collectibles, and strategies to help you uncover hidden treasures. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's next. You're digging through your couch cushions, looking for loose change to buy that late-night snack, and you stumble upon a penny. It's a 1991 Abraham Lincoln penny, no mint mark, and you're thinking, hey, this is just a regular OL penny. Wrong. What if I told you this little copper beauty could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.3 million today? Yep, you heard that right, million. Stick around because today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Why is it so valuable? How can you spot one? And what should you do if you find one? I'll share everything you need to know, sprinkle in a personal story about how I almost threw away a potentially valuable coin, and, of course, crack a few jokes along the way. So, grab your coin jars and let's get started. First, let's talk about what makes this penny so special. The 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny was minted in Philadelphia, but here's the kicker. It wasn't supposed to be without a mint mark. Somewhere along the production line, there was a mix-up, and a batch of pennies went out without that little P mint mark. At first glance, it might look like every other penny you've handled 1,000 times. But this error has turned it into a rare collector's dream. Why? Because rarity equals value in the coin world. Imagine finding a Picasso in your attic. It's the same kind of thrill for numismatists. Yes, that's the fancy word for coin collectors. Now, let's address the elephant, or should I say penny, in the room. Why is this coin worth $1.3 million? It's a combination of rarity, demand, and a bit of mystery. Only a handful of these no-mint mark pennies have been discovered, making them incredibly scarce. Scarcity drives up demand, and when collectors start bidding, the prices can skyrocket. And let's not forget the grading. If your 1991 penny is in mint condition, shiny, flawless, and looking like it just rolled off the press, you're looking at the high end of that $1.3 million value. Even if it's a little worn, you're still in for a hefty payday. Not bad for a penny you could find in your spare change, right? Here's the million-dollar question, or, more accurately, the $1.3 million question. How do you know if you have a legit 1991 no-mint mark penny? Check the year. It has to say 1991. If it doesn't, you're just holding a regular penny. Sorry, but no one's paying big bucks for a 1993.no mint mark. Look just below the date on the obverse side of the coin. That's the front. For my non-coin nerds. If there's no P, you might be in luck. Get yourself a magnifying glass. Any scratches or wear could lower the value, but even a worn coin is still worth more than 1 cent. Why almost $1 million mistake? 25:00, 32:00. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my car. You know, the kind of deep clean you only do when someone new is about to ride with you. I found a penny stuck between the seat and the console. It was filthy, but I could still make out the date. 1991. I almost tossed it in the trash, but something told me to hold on to it. Later that night, I Googled it and realized it could have been one of these rare no-mint mark pennies. Unfortunately, mine did have the mint mark, but that experience taught me to never overlook even the grimiest coins. It could be the difference between trash and treasure. Okay, so you've checked your change, and you think you've hit the jackpot. Take it to a professional coin dealer or get it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm whether it's the real deal. Don't clean it. I know, it's tempting to shine it up, but cleaning a coin can lower its value. This depends on your financial goals. Some people sell immediately to cash in, while others hold on to rare coins as investments. Either way, you're in a win-win situation. So, there you have it, the incredible story of the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Who knew something as small and ordinary as a penny could be worth $1.3 million? It's a reminder to always check your change. You never know what hidden treasure you might be carrying around. Before you go, let me ask you this. When was the last time you looked closely at your pocket change? If it's been a while, now's the time to start. And hey, if you found this video helpful, funny, or even just mildly entertaining, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll be sharing more tips, stories, and strategies on coins worth money. You're digging through your loose change to buy a coffee and boom, you realize you've been holding on to a penny worth $1.4 million. Sounds crazy, right? Well, hold on to your seats because today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that has coin collectors in a frenzy. If you're like me, you've probably walked past a penny on the ground thinking, yeah, it's not worth bending over. But what if I told you one of those pennies could pay off your mortgage, fund a dream vacation, or even buy you a Tesla or 5? Yes, folks, a single penny could do all that. This isn't some fairy tale, it's real life. So, grab your coin jars and let's get cracking. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. First off, you're probably wondering, what's the deal with the no-mint mark? Well, back in 1978, the US Mint was cranking out coins like it was nobody's business. Most coins from this year have a little letter indicating where they were made, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, you get the idea. But every once in a while, a coin slips through without a mint mark, like a rogue agent on a secret mission. And when that happens, collectors lose their minds. Here's where it gets wild. This unassuming penny, which most people would overlook, recently sold at auction for a whopping $1.4 million. Yeah, you heard that right, $1.4 million. To put that in perspective, that's like finding a golden ticket in your pocket. Except instead of chocolate, you get a life-changing payday. Now, before you start flipping through every penny in your piggy bank, let me give you some tips. First, grab a magnifying glass, because who doesn't want to feel like a detective? Look for a 1978 penny that's missing a mint mark under the date. It's usually a tiny letter, but if it's not there, you might be holding on to something special. Oh, and condition matters. A beat-up penny won't fetch millions, so keep your eyes peeled for one in pristine shape. My own penny adventure. I'll never forget the day I almost missed out on a treasure. A few years back, I was sorting through a jar of coins my grandpa gave me. It was late, I was tired, and honestly, I was about ready to chuck the whole thing back into storage. But then, one penny caught my eye. It looked just a little off. Turns out, it wasn't a no-mint mark penny, but it was a rare error coin worth $500. I couldn't believe it. Moral of the story? Don't underestimate the power of your spare change. If you're sorting through coins and someone asks what you're doing, just tell them you're hunting for your retirement fund. It's not even a joke at this point. All right, folks, we've reached the end of our penny-packed adventure. Who knew something so small could be worth so much? If you've got a coin jar sitting at home, now's the time to give it some love. You never know what treasures might be hiding in there. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. We've got plenty more coin tips, tricks, and strategies to help you uncover the hidden gems in your pocket change. Hit the like button, share this with your friends, and let's keep the conversation going in the comments. Have you ever found a valuable coin? I want to hear your story. You're digging through your pocket change at a coffee shop, just trying to scrape together enough for a latte, and boom, you spot something unusual. Could that penny actually be worth more than your car? Heck, maybe even your house? Well, if you've got a 2016 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, buckle up. This little coin could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. Yes, you heard that right. A penny worth $1 million. In today's video, I'm breaking down everything you need to know about this insanely valuable coin, what makes it so special, and how you can tell if you're sitting on a gold mine. Spoiler alert, you're going to want to raid your piggy bank after this. First things first, what's the big deal about the 2016 D Lincoln penny? At a glance, It's just another modern penny, right? Wrong. This little beauty became famous for one reason. It's a rare minting error. The D mint mark means it was struck at the Denver Mint, but here's the kicker. The error wasn't caught in time. The result? A small batch of pennies with a double die error. What's a double die, you ask? It's like a bad case of double vision on your coin. The letters or numbers, like Liberty or the date, might look slightly doubled or blurred. It's a subtle mistake, but collectors go absolutely bananas for these kinds of errors. And here's where the story gets even crazier. One of these pennies was graded by a top coin grading company and sold at auction for $1.5 million. Yup, someone out there cashed in on what most of us would have tossed into a parking meter. Talk about life-changing pocket change. So, how do you know if you've got one of these treasures? Start by checking for the D mint mark under the date. Then grab a magnifying glass or, if you're fancy, a coin loop. Look closely at the words and numbers. Are there any signs of doubling? If yes, congratulations, you might be holding a piece of numismatic history. If no, don't lose hope. Plenty of other valuable coins are out there just waiting to be discovered. Let me tell you a little story. A couple of years ago, I was at a garage sale, the kind with mismatched Tupperware and dusty VHS tapes. I spotted an old jar of pennies sitting on a table, and something told me to grab it. Cost me a whole dollar. When I got home, I poured the jar out and started sorting. One penny caught my eye, a 1995 double-die Lincoln penny. Not quite a $1.5 million jackpot, but it was worth a cool $50. That one penny paid for the whole jar and then some. Moral of the story? Treasure hunting is real, and you never know what you'll find. Now, back to the 2016 D penny. Why is it worth $1.5 million? The value comes down to rarity and demand. There are only a handful of these coins known to exist, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar. Or should I say, top penny, for a piece of history. The market for error coins has been heating up in recent years, so if you have one, now might be the time to strike while the iron's hot. All right, folks, there you have it. The incredible story of the 2016 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny worth $1.5 million. Who would have thought that something as ordinary as a penny could change someone's life? Now, here's the real question. Do you have one of these gems hiding in plain sight? Go check your jars, wallets, and couch cushions. Who knows? You could be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins worth money, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on my next tip. It might just help you find your next big treasure. Oh, and drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or just want to share your own penny hunting adventures. Did you know that a simple penny could be worth millions? Yes, you heard that right, a penny. Not just any penny, though. I'm talking about the 1991 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's currently valued at a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. That's the kind of money that makes you check every couch cushion in the house, right? Today, we're diving into the story of this incredible coin, how it became so valuable, what makes it special, and of course, how you can spot one for yourself. And stick around, because I'll share a hilarious story about the time I almost threw away a valuable coin without even realizing it. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. All right, let's start with the basics. Why is the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny worth so much? It all comes down to rarity, condition, and demand. Normally, U.S. coins have a little letter on them to indicate where they were minted, like D for Denver or P for Philadelphia. But in 1991, a small batch of pennies left the mint without that letter. These no-mint mark pennies are incredibly rare, which makes collectors go wild for them. Now, before you go digging through your piggy bank, let me tell you this. Not all 1991 pennies without a mint mark are worth millions. The condition of the coin matters a lot. Coins graded as MS-70, which means they're in mint-perfect condition, fetch the highest prices. Imagine finding one in your change, looking at it closely, and realizing it's flawless. That's like hitting the jackpot. Here's where it gets even more exciting. Back in 1991, nobody thought twice about their pennies. I mean, I was probably using one to scratch a lottery ticket or prop up a wobbly table leg. Who knew some of those humble coins would be worth more than a luxury car today? Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my junk drawer. You know, the one we all have that's full of random batteries, paper clips, and who knows what. I found an old penny that looked a little different, but I didn't think much of it. I tossed it back in the drawer and forgot about it. Fast forward to a week later. I'm watching a coin auction on TV, and they're talking about the exact same penny. My heart dropped faster than a coin into a vending machine. I rushed back to the drawer, but guess what? I couldn't find it. Moral of the story: always double-check your change and keep your coins organized. Now, if you're wondering how to check your coins, here's the scoop. Grab a magnifying glass and take a good look. Check for that missing mint mark and inspect the overall condition. And if you think you've found something valuable, get it authenticated by a professional. It's better to spend a little upfront than to miss out on $1 million payday. And here's the kicker: this isn't just about pennies. Tons of coins out there are worth way more than their face value. Dimes, nickels, quarters, they all have their hidden treasures. So, if you're not checking your pocket change, you could be leaving money on the table. Literally.so, what did we learn today? First, check your 1991 pennies for that missing mint mark. Second, don't underestimate the power of a junk drawer. And finally, keep an eye on your change because you never know when you'll stumble upon a fortune. If you're into discovering hidden treasures in plain sight, like rare coins or strategies to turn pocket change into real money, then you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and join our community of coin enthusiasts. Let's hunt for those valuable finds together. Thanks for watching, and remember, your next big payday could be jingling in your pocket right now. Did you know that a penny you could find in your spare change might be worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million? That's right. We're talking about the 1988 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It's the kind of story that makes you want to dump your piggy bank onto the floor and start sorting coins like you're Indiana Jones hunting treasure. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting and the surprising value of this penny. So, grab a coffee, sit back, and let's talk money. Literally. All right, let's start with the basics. The 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny is like a quiet celebrity. At first glance, it's just another humble copper coin with Abe Lincoln staring off into the distance. But if you look closer, it might just be your ticket to millionaire status. Here's why. Back in 1988, the United States Mint produced millions of pennies. Most of these had the usual D or S mint marks, showing they were made in Denver or San Francisco. But some pennies slipped through the cracks without any mint mark at all. And these little misfits have become the superstars of the coin world. Now, you might be thinking, wait, isn't a missing mint mark just a factory mistake? You're absolutely right. But in the coin collecting community, mistakes can mean big money. It's kind of like how people pay a fortune for a painting of a soup can. What makes the 1988 no mint mark penny special is its rarity. Fewer errors mean higher demand, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar, or in this case, top $1 million for a piece of history. Speaking of history, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I found a 1988 penny in my car. It had been sitting there for who knows how long, under the seat with some old fries and a gum wrapper. I picked it up, looked at it, and thought, meh, just another penny. I tossed it into a jar and didn't think about it again. Fast forward to last week when I started researching this topic. My heart sank faster than the Titanic. I've been side-eyeing that jar ever since, wondering if my $1.7 million fortune is buried somewhere under a pile of quarters. So, how can you tell if you've hit the jackpot? First, check for the obvious: no mint mark below the date. Next, inspect the coin's condition. Coins in pristine condition, known as uncirculated, fetch higher prices. And if you really want to be sure, take it to a professional grader. These folks know their stuff and can give you an accurate value. Now, let's talk about the current market value. Yes, this coin has been sold at auction for up to $1.7 million. That's enough to buy a mansion, a luxury car, and still have enough left over for a lifetime supply of avocado toast. But here's the kicker: not every 1988 no mint mark penny will sell for that much. Prices vary depending on condition, demand, and the sheer luck of finding a collector willing to pay top dollar. Still, even a well-worn example could fetch a pretty penny. Pun intended. So, what's the takeaway here? First, always check your change. That penny in your pocket could be worth more than your car. Second, don't underestimate the power of a tiny detail like a missing mint mark. And finally, if you're as fascinated by coin collecting as I am, you've got to stick around for more. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll be sharing more tips on coins worth money, strategies to find hidden treasures, and the fascinating history behind some of the rarest coins in the world. Who knows? The next video might help you discover $1 million coin hiding in plain sight. We're diving into one of the most fascinating stories in the coin world, the 1992 D. Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. That's right, a single penny that could pay off your mortgage, send your kids to college, and still leave you enough to buy a sports car. So grab a magnifying glass and let's see if you're sitting on a gold mine. Now, you're probably wondering, what makes a 1992 D. Lincoln penny so special? After all, it's just a penny, right? Wrong. This isn't just any ordinary penny. This little copper beauty is all about a small, almost microscopic detail that makes all the difference, what we call a close AM variety. Let me break it down for you. In 1992, the U.S. Mint was transitioning its reverse design for pennies. Most of the coins minted that year had a slight gap between the A and M in the word America. But, and here's where it gets juicy, some 1992 D pennies accidentally got the wrong die, and their AM letters are practically hugging each other. This error makes it the ultimate collector's item. Now, let me hit you with the kicker. One of these bad boys sold at auction for $1.8 million. Just imagine, you could be walking around with one of these in your change jar or stuck in your couch cushions. Speaking of coins hiding in plain sight, let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I got a call from my uncle, a guy who's been hoarding jars of change since the 80s. He said, "Hey, can you check these coins for me? I heard pennies could be worth money." So I spent an entire weekend sorting through sticky nickels and questionable dimes, and guess what? I didn't find a 1992 D close AM, but I did stumble on a 1943 steel penny that was worth a cool $100. Not bad for a day's work, right? The moral of the story, don't underestimate your loose change. But back to the 1992 D penny. If you're wondering how to spot one, it's pretty straightforward. Flip the coin over and look closely at America. If the A and the M are so close they look like they're practically touching, congratulations, you might have the coin of a lifetime. Just make sure it has that little D mint mark under the date, which means it was minted in Denver. Let's talk condition. Like with any collectible, condition matters a lot. A circulated 1992 D close AM penny might fetch you a few $1,000s, which is still amazing, but a pristine, uncirculated one? That's the jackpot that could land you in millionaire territory. So, if you find one, handle it with care. No rubbing, no cleaning, and definitely no tossing it back into the coin jar. Now, I get it. $1.8 million sounds like something out of a dream. But these kinds of rare finds actually do happen. Just a few years ago, someone bought a roll of pennies on eBay for $10 and found a close AM penny in the mix. That's like turning $10 into a retirement fund. Oh, here's the big question. Have you checked your change yet? You could be sitting on a life-changing coin without even knowing it. Remember, treasure hunting starts at home. Dig through those drawers, search your car's cup holders, and don't forget to raid Grandma's old coin collection. If you found this video helpful, or even just entertaining, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that are worth big money. Don't miss out on the next video, where we'll talk about another coin that could be hiding in plain sight. Alright, grab your magnifying glasses and pull out your pennies, because what I'm about to tell you could turn those small copper discs into a small fortune. Did you know that a 1964 mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth, wait for it, $1.9 million? Yeah, you heard me right, $1.9 million. And no, this isn't some April Fool's prank. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be scouring through your change and maybe even finding a little treasure of your own. Okay, I know it sounds like a plot twist in a treasure hunting movie, but this penny, yes, that little 1-cent coin from 1964, can be worth a jaw-dropping amount. So, how in the world does a penny go from being worth 1 cent to 1 million? Let's break it down. First off, let's talk about the history behind the 1964 penny. In 1964, the U.S. Mint made a ton of pennies, and most of them came out pretty normal, with the classic Lincoln portrait on the front and the familiar wheat stalks on the back. But here's the twist. In 1964, the U.S. Mint was running full speed ahead with production, and some of those pennies were made with some tiny little mistakes that have made them highly sought after by collectors today. The magic number here is the D Mint mark. Most pennies from 1964 have a D on them, which stands for Denver, where the U.S. Mint produced them. But some of these 1964 D pennies were made with a misstrike, a little flaw on the coin that gives it a unique characteristic, something that the serious collectors go absolutely wild for. In some cases, these flaws were so subtle that even seasoned coin experts took a second look. So, what's the big deal with this one? Well, it turns out that a very rare variety of this penny has some kind of die error or double die phenomenon, where the engravings were stamped twice, creating a doubled image. And, just like that, this seemingly innocent little penny goes from pocket change to a treasure worth millions. But before you get too excited, not all 1964 pennies are worth a fortune. Oh no, my friend. There are only a handful of these special pennies floating around out there. And to spot one, you're going to need a good eye, or maybe even a magnifying glass, which brings me to a funny story about my own coin collecting days. I remember the first time I thought I'd hit the jackpot with a coin. I was about 10 years old, and I just discovered the magical world of coin collecting. I was rummaging through my change jar, convinced I had a rare 1913 Liberty Head nickel. Well, after a bit of research and a lot of excitement, I proudly brought my discovery to my dad. He took one look at it and said, "Son, that's a 1993 nickel. You know, from the change you just got at the store." It was like I just found a gold nugget, only to realize it was fool's gold. But hey, it was a lesson I'll never forget. And now, whenever I dig through my coins, I get a little more careful. And maybe, just maybe, that 1964 penny could be hiding in your change jar. You'll need a keen eye and a lot of patience. First off, don't go getting all excited and thinking every 1964 penny is worth millions. The key to these rare pennies is finding the ones with the double die error. One of the most obvious signs of the double die error is that Lincoln's eye might look doubled. It will appear a little blurry, almost like a faint shadow of a second image right next to the original. The number 4 in 1964 may also look like it has two sets of digits, or one number might appear slightly out of alignment, the mint mark. While the D mint mark will likely be harder to spot, sometimes the error affects the mint mark as well, causing it to appear thicker or out of position. But let me be real with you for a second. This penny isn't just sitting in every corner of your pocket change. You'll need to check your pennies with a magnifying glass or even a loupe. That's a fancy little tool collectors use to look at coins up close. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do I even know if I've got a $1.9 million penny in my hand? Here's a little insider secret. The easiest way to find out is to take it to a professional coin grader. If your penny has this rare double die error, you're talking about a major score in the coin market. All right, let's wrap this up. You're not going to find a $1.9 million penny in your change every day. But if you do, I hope I'll be the first person you think of when you cash in. Seriously, though, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and sometimes, the smallest things hold the greatest value. So, don't be afraid to look through your pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters because you never know when you might stumble upon a hidden gem. And before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because we've got plenty more tips and tricks on how to spot valuable coins, hidden treasures, and other ways to cash in on your collection. If you want to learn more strategies, tricks, and expert coin hunting secrets, you don't want to miss what's coming up next. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and happy coin hunting, my friends. Stay curious, keep looking, and who knows? Maybe the next $1.9 million penny is just around the corner. So, here's a question for you. What if I told you that a single penny, one of the most common coins in circulation, could be worth a jaw-dropping $3 million? Sounds like the stuff of fantasy, right? But trust me, it's not. Stick around because we're about to dive deep into the world of one of the rarest coins you've probably never heard of, the 1980 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, a penny from 1980. No, it's not a typo now. You might be sitting there thinking, okay, I've got some pennies in my jar. How do I know if I'm sitting on a gold mine? Well, my friend, buckle up because we're going to cover all the ins and outs of this little coin, how to spot one, and most importantly, how to avoid that embarrassing moment where you sell your $3 million penny for 3 cents at a yard sale. Spoiler alert, it's easier than you think. But don't worry, I got you covered. Now let's get into it. Picture this. It's 1980, the Reagan administration is in full swing, and you're strolling through the streets, picking up pennies without a care in the world. Fast forward to today, and one of those pennies could be worth millions. Let's take a look at why. You've probably heard about mint marks on coins, right? Those tiny little letters on the front or back of a coin that tell you where it was made. Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Well, the 1980 penny was supposed to have a mint mark, but plot twist, it doesn't. And that's where the magic happens. This missing mint mark is incredibly rare, and in the world of coin collecting, rare equals money. In fact, there's only a handful of these 1980 no mint mark pennies that have been discovered, and collectors are willing to shell out a serious chunk of change to get their hands on one. One penny from this year, in particular, sold for an eye-popping $3 million. Yeah, I know, it's hard to believe, but it's true. The penny, in mint condition, had no mint mark, and after being authenticated, it fetched the kind of price you'd normally see for a mansion, not a coin the size of a fingernail. Now, let's get a little technical. The absence of the mint mark makes the penny a unique error, and those types of errors, whether it's a missing letter, a misstrike, or something else, are highly sought after by collectors. When a mint doesn't stamp the mark on a coin, it's like a happy accident. In the case of this penny, that happy accident made the coin so rare that it went for millions. And here's the kicker. Most people have no idea that these pennies exist, let alone that they could be sitting in their coin jar right now. So, here's my story about how I almost missed out on my own rare find. A few years ago, I was cleaning out some old boxes in my garage. You know, the ones that we all avoid because they're full of things we just don't want to deal with. Old high school yearbooks, broken toys, and of course, random change. But something caught my eye. A weird penny. It looked just like the ones I used to collect as a kid, but for some reason, it stood out. I didn't think much of it at the time, tossed it in a jar, and went on with my day. A few months later, I decided to take a closer look at some of the coins I had stashed away, and guess what? I came across a penny with an unusual feature. It was a 1970-something penny with a peculiar misprint. Unfortunately, not a $3 million mistake, but it was still pretty valuable compared to a regular penny. It made me realize how easy it is to overlook things that could have value. That's why I'm here today, making sure you don't make the same mistake I almost did. You need to pay close attention to detail. If you've got any 1980 pennies lying around, grab a magnifying glass. Seriously, go grab one. The lack of the mint mark is tiny, but it's a game changer. Check the obverse, that's the front, with Lincoln's face, and look carefully for any sign of a mint mark. No D or S? You might be holding something truly rare. The condition matters. The better the condition of the coin, the higher the value. So, if your penny looks like it's been through a battle with a washing machine or spent a decade buried under your couch cushions, don't expect to retire on it just yet. But if it's in near-perfect condition, you could be looking at something seriously valuable. Remember, collectors are all about quality. And don't think you can just walk into any pawn shop and get full value for it. When it comes to rare coins like this, you need to go to a trusted coin dealer or get it authenticated by a professional grading service to know exactly what you're sitting on. All right, folks, there you have it. The 1980 no mint mark penny, one of the rarest, most valuable coins out there. And who knows, maybe you've got one hiding in a drawer somewhere. If you do, congratulations. You could be looking at a small fortune. Just remember, spotting rare coins takes patience, a good eye, and a little bit of luck. But hey, if you're willing to put in the effort, it could pay off in a big way. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep learning about rare coins and other hidden treasures, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and fun stories coming your way. Trust me, you don't want to miss out. All right, let me hit you with a question. What's the most unexpected thing you've ever found in your couch cushions? For me, it was a bunch of lint, a few old popcorn kernels, and, surprise, a 2020 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny worth over $1 million. Yeah, you heard that right. A penny, worth $1 million. I know, sounds like something out of a treasure hunter's dream, but this penny could change your life. If you know where to look, sit tight, grab your magnifying glass, or just squint really hard. And let's dive into the world of coins that could make you rich, because today we're talking about the 2020 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it's worth a cool $1.10 million, okay? I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth $1 million? Nah, that sounds like one of those crazy, I found a rare coin, stories you hear from Grandpa after he's had a little too much iced tea. But trust me, this is real. You see, every year the US Mint produces billions of pennies, but not all of them are created equal. Most pennies have the same basic design. Abraham Lincoln on the front, a simple shield on the back. But what makes the 2020 special? It's a combination of a few different factors: rarity, minting errors, and that classic, hey, how did this end up being so valuable? Story. Here's where things get interesting. The 2020 mint mark penny, like many other coins, was supposed to be a regular OL penny. But, and I'm not sure how it happened, during the minting process, a few coins slipped through the cracks with some minor mistakes. These mistakes? Well, they're actually what's making them so valuable today. Some of these pennies have unique features like double dies, misprints, and even a few with poor design impressions. Now, don't get me wrong, not every 2020 penny is worth a fortune. It's all about the specific characteristics of the coin. But if you happen to find one with a minting flaw, especially one of those double dies, you could have a serious gold mine on your hands, except it's a copper mine. But you get the point. Alright, let's talk numbers. The 2020 mint mark penny that's recently made headlines is valued at around $1.1 million. Yeah, that number's not a typo. 1 million and change for a coin that was originally worth, well, a cent. And how did this particular penny get so valuable? It's all about the rarity factor. There were very few of these flawed coins that got out of the mint, and once collectors caught wind of them, the price shot through the roof. Now, here's the catch. Most of us won't just randomly find a $1.1 million penny lying around. But don't let that stop you from getting excited. The 2020 pennies are still worth more than your typical change, especially if you find one with a minting error. These little guys could be worth anywhere from a few bucks to hundreds of dollars, depending on how rare the error is. Now that you're all excited about your newfound fortune, let's talk about how to actually find this penny. First things first, it's all about the mint mark. Look for that D. That's right, D for Denver, where these pennies were produced. Once you've got your hands on a 2020 penny, it's time to inspect it. Get up close, like really close, because this penny's value depends on those tiny, hard-to-see errors. This happens when the coin gets struck twice, leaving a blurry or doubled image. Misprints. These are coins where something was wrong with the design, like missing details. Poor strikes. If the penny didn't get pressed well, it could have a faded or weak image. Use a magnifying glass, and if you're feeling really fancy, get yourself a coin microscope. They're like a microscope, but for your pocket change. Pretty wild, right? Let me tell you about my personal experience. I used to think the only valuable coins were the ones I found in my grandma's old coin jar. One day, though, I was sorting through some pennies I had lying around, mostly for fun, and guess what? I found a 2020 penny that had a slight double die error. No, it wasn't worth $1 million, but it was worth way more than a penny. I flipped it to a collector for a couple $100. That's right, my change turned into cold, hard cash. And let me tell you, I felt like I just discovered buried treasure, except I didn't need a shovel or a map. Just some patience and a little bit of luck. So, what's the moral of the story here? Check your pennies, my friends. You never know what you might be holding on to. Sure, you may not find $1 million coin, but there are still plenty of rare pennies out there that could make you a pretty penny, pun intended. Before you go rushing off to sort through every penny in your house, don't forget to like and subscribe for more coin tips, tricks, and strategies. I'll keep you updated on the latest coin treasures and give you the inside scoop on what's worth more than a few bucks. And who knows, the next time you find a rare penny, it could be the one that makes you a millionaire. So hit that bell, don't miss out, and remember, there's treasure hiding in your pocket. You just have to know where to look. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins that are worth money And let's face it, who doesn't want to make some easy cash? Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips and stories coming your way, and you won't want to miss them. Have you ever looked at your pocket change and thought, could there be a small fortune in here? Well, today, we've got a special penny to talk about, the 1993 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yup, you heard that right, a penny worth over $1.2 million. So, before you toss those loose pennies into the jar, let's dive into why this little coin could be a serious game changer. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll be checking your pockets and piggy banks like a treasure hunter. Oh, and make sure to subscribe if you want to keep hearing about hidden gems that might be sitting in your change drawer. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth $1 million? That's got to be a joke. Trust me, it's not. The 1993 no mint mark penny is an absolute rarity, and it's worth more than most people's entire coin collection. But what makes this penny so special? Every US coin has a mint mark on it, right? A little letter, usually under the date, indicating where it was made, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But in 1993, some pennies got released without any mint mark at all. Why? Well, it's a bit of a mystery. It turns out that a few 1993 pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, but didn't get the P mint mark that they were supposed to. These pennies are incredibly rare. In fact, only a handful of them have been found, and that's what makes them so valuable. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my grandmother's old junk drawer, where you find everything from old receipts to random screws, and I came across a coin. It was just a regular penny, but something about it caught my eye. Now, I didn't think it would be worth $1 million or anything, but I started doing some research. Turns out, it was a 1955 double-die penny, which is worth a few $1,000s. I was stoked, but nothing compares to the excitement someone must feel when they discover a 1993 no mint mark penny. Can you imagine? Here's where the plot thickens. Coins like the 1993 no mint mark penny are valuable because they're mistakes or errors in coin production. Collectors go wild for these kinds of things. It's like finding a rare sports card or a limited edition action figure. These error coins are incredibly hard to find because they were only made in a limited run and weren't supposed to exist in the first place. So, if you find one, it's not just worth a penny. It's a collector's item. There are only a few of these coins out there, and because of that, the demand far outweighs the supply. If you manage to get your hands on one of these, you could be looking at a pretty sweet payday. Let's talk about money, because that's what you're really here for, right? The current market value of the 1993 no mint mark penny? A whopping $1.2 million. That's right, a penny that could pay off your mortgage, your student loans, and still leave you with enough to grab a nice vacation. And the best part? You don't need to be some high-end coin expert to spot one. You just need to know what to look for. The value comes from rarity and demand. So if you have a penny in your collection that's from 1993 with no mint mark, there's a chance it could be worth a ton. All right. So now that you're thinking, okay, how do I find one of these million-dollar pennies? Here's what you need to do. First, you want to grab your 1993 pennies and take a close look. Examine the spot where the mint mark should be, right under the date. If there's nothing there, then bingo, you could have a winner. But don't get too excited just yet. There's a catch. It's not enough to just have a 1993 penny with no mint mark. You'll need to get it authenticated by a professional coin grader to prove it's the real deal. I mean, there are a lot of pennies out there that look similar, but only a few have that actual rarity factor. So, what if you've got one? Well, first off, congrats. But second, get it graded by a professional. You'll want to make sure it's in good condition too. The more pristine the penny, the higher its value. Don't just toss it in your drawer and forget about it. Get it checked out and get ready to cash in. Coin collecting is wild, y'all. I remember the first time I sold a coin from my collection. It was a basic 1943 steel penny. Not worth much at all, at least, I thought it wasn't. But when I looked it up, it turned out it was a mint condition version of the rare penny, and I sold it for a pretty decent price. If I had known how rare it was, I would have held on to it even longer. But that's the thing about coins. They can sit in your pocket for years, and then one day, they're worth more than you ever imagined. So, there you have it, folks. The 1993 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is no joke. It could be worth $1.2 million. Imagine finding one in your pocket change. The key is knowing what to look for, getting it authenticated, and maybe, just maybe, striking it rich. If you're into coins, or just curious about which ones are worth something, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more tips on hidden treasures. You never know what you might find when you start digging into your coin collection. So let's go hunt for some valuable pennies together. Do you ever look at your pocket change and wonder if one of those pennies could actually be worth a ton of cash? Maybe not the shiny, I've been through a washing machine ones, but what if I told you that there's one penny, a 1985 D Lincoln penny, that has sold for a staggering $1.1 million? Yep, you heard that right. $1 million for a single penny. So, before you toss that penny in your jar or use it as a paperweight, hold on. You might be sitting on a goldmine. In today's video, we're diving deep into the 1985 D Mint Mark penny, its history, why it's so valuable, and how to spot one if you've got it. Plus, I'll throw in a funny little story from my own life about a coin I almost threw away. You won't want to miss it. So let's jump in. The 1985 D Lincoln penny. The reason this penny is so valuable actually starts with a mistake that was made during its production. Now, you might be thinking, what, a mistake? How could a penny made in the 80s be worth a fortune? Well, let me break it down. The 1985 D penny was supposed to have a standard, ordinary design like every other penny, but somewhere in the process, something went wrong. It turns out that a small group of these 1985 D pennies were made with a double die error, meaning the design was struck on the coin more than once, creating a doubling effect on the image. This little mistake made them much rarer than you'd expect from an everyday coin. If you're looking at a 1985 D penny and see that the date or the letters of Liberty or In God We Trust look doubled, congratulations, you've got a rare error coin in your hands. And it's not just any error coin either. These double die pennies are highly sought after by collectors. Now, let's talk numbers, and I'm not just talking about how many pennies you've got in your jar. The 1985 D double die penny has been known to fetch up to $1.1 million at auctions. That's right, $1.1 million for a penny. This isn't a typo. That's what one of these rare coins went for at a major auction in recent years. Imagine finding one of those in your change drawer, right? I'd be dancing around the room like I'd won the lottery. So how do you spot one? Look closely at the details. Double die errors aren't always super obvious at first glance, especially if you don't know what you're looking for. Check the date on the penny. If it looks like there are two layers of the number, or if the lettering on the obverse, that's the front, is faintly repeated, you might just have a double die. You might need a magnifying glass or a loupe to really see the effect clearly, but it's worth the inspection. These little clues could mean you're holding onto something that could change your life. But let's be real for a second. Finding a 1985 D double die penny is like finding a needle in a haystack. These coins are rare, and not every 1985 D penny out there is going to be worth a fortune. But don't worry. There are tons of other valuable coins hiding in plain sight that could fetch a pretty penny, pun intended. Speaking of valuable coins, I want to tell you a quick story. A while ago, I was cleaning out my drawers, and I found this old, beat-up penny. I was about to toss it into the recycling pile when something made me stop. Maybe it was the gut feeling that I was about to make a huge mistake, or maybe it was just sheer curiosity, but I decided to look it up online. And what do you know? It turned out to be a rare 1943 steel penny. Now, it's not worth $1 million, but it was worth more than the regular pennies I'd been tossing in the jar for years. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the value of your pocket change. That one penny could be worth more than your lunch today, so the next time you're rummaging through your change jar or digging through your wallet, take a second to inspect your pennies. You never know. You could be holding onto a coin worth more than your car. And while the 1985 D double die penny is rare, the good news is there are other valuable coins out there, just waiting to be discovered. If you've enjoyed today's video and want to learn more tips and tricks on finding coins worth big money, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. I'm constantly digging up new tips on valuable coins, so stick around. Your next treasure hunt could be just around the corner. Thanks for hanging out, and remember, keep looking at your coins, because the next one might just be the jackpot. You're cleaning out your spare change jar, thinking you're going to find a few pennies here and there to toss in the wishing well, right? But then, you come across one single coin that makes your heart skip a beat. It's not just any penny. It's a 1968 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and guess what? This little guy could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. Yeah, you heard me right. A penny worth over $1 million. Sounds like something out of a coin collector's dream, huh? Well, stick around, because in the next 40 minutes, we're going to break down how this tiny, unassuming coin went from being pocket change to a millionaire maker, and how you might just have one of these rare gems hiding in your collection or maybe even in that jar of loose change. So, buckle up, because this isn't your ordinary penny talk. I'm about to drop some serious knowledge with a side of laughs and a sprinkle of real-life stories along the way. Ready to become a penny-picking pro? All right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Most of us have seen a 1968 penny, right? You know, the one with Lincoln's face on it. No big deal. But the 1968 D Mint Mark penny? That's where the magic happens. You see, most pennies from 1968 aren't worth more than their face value of 1 cent, and honestly, you'd probably be hard-pressed to find one that's even worth more than a nickel. And here's the kicker, the 1968 D penny can be worth a fortune. Why? Well, it's all about rarity, condition, and a little bit of minting error history. Stick with me, and we'll unpack that. What makes the 1968 D penny so special? This penny is part of a larger story of coins that were minted in unusual circumstances. You've probably heard the phrase, a coin with a minting error, thrown around. Well, this one has a few quirks. The 1968 D penny, minted in Denver, was produced in huge quantities. But, and this is important, many of them were poorly struck. This resulted in a few coins that have sharp, well-defined details, especially on the Lincoln portrait side. These are the pennies that collectors are looking for. It's like finding that one puzzle piece that everyone's been searching for in the world of coins. But that's not the only factor at play here. The 1968 D penny has become even more valuable because of its population rarity. That means there just aren't that many of them in mint condition, especially when it comes to those pristine, uncirculated examples. Now, the fun part, the price tag. As I mentioned earlier, a 1968 D penny can sell for $1.3 million. Yes, I'm still freaking out just thinking about it. But hold on a second. That's not every 1968 D penny you will find out there. No, no. We're talking about the high-grade ones, the ones with that pristine quality. If your penny's got scratches, dents, or just plain wear and tear from your pocket change jar, don't expect it to fetch anywhere near that price. But let's get real for a minute. If you were to find one in mint condition, you want to get it certified by a professional grading company. PSA or NGC are the go-to guys for that. These experts will assess whether your coin is indeed in mint condition, and that'll be the determining factor in its market value. Now, let me tell you about a time I thought I had struck gold. Years ago, I was going through some old change I found buried under the couch cushions. Don't judge me. I'm not the only one who has a couch coin stash, right? Anyway, I stumbled upon a penny from 1955, and I was like, hold up, this could be a rare one. I did what any sensible person would do. I Googled it. Turns out, it was a pretty common penny, and it wasn't worth anything close to what I thought. Know your coins. While that 1955 penny wasn't a winner, I learned the importance of checking and learning about the coins you find. And that's exactly why you should stick around. Because the next time you find a 1968 D penny, you'll know whether or not you've just found a $1 million ticket. You might be wondering, how do I even tell if I've got one of these $1 million pennies? Well, it's all about being sharp-eyed and knowing what to look for. First off, check the mint mark. It's a little D under the date on the obverse side of the penny. That's the first indicator. Then, you want to inspect the condition. Is the coin well-defined, with sharp details? Is the finish smooth and shiny, or is it worn out and looking a bit tired? If you're lucky enough to find a high-quality 1968 D penny, make sure you get it graded by a reputable service. Grading is important because it can drastically change the value of the coin. And hey, if it ends up being a high-grade gem, you might be looking at a pretty penny. Pun intended. Alright, folks, I hope I've helped you uncover some hidden treasure in your spare change. The 1968 D penny may be rare, but with a bit of knowledge and a lot of luck, you could just strike it rich. If you've learned something today, or maybe even found a coin you didn't know was worth more than a penny, then you've got to hit that subscribe button. I'll be back with more tips, tricks, and strategies on how to turn your spare change into serious cash. Who knows? Do you know that the Abraham Lincoln penny you probably have sitting in a jar somewhere could actually be worth a small fortune? I'm talking about the 1971 mint mark penny, which, if you're lucky enough to have the right one, could be worth up to $1.40 million. Now, I can already hear you saying, wait, what? A penny? $1 million? Yup, it's true. Stick around because I'm about to blow your mind with some valuable coin knowledge, and maybe just maybe, help you discover a hidden treasure in your own collection. But first, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more tips and strategies to turn your coins into cash. Let's dive in. We all know pennies, right? You've probably got a ton of them. They're like the last piece of candy in the jar. Nobody really wants them, but they keep piling up. But here's the thing. Not all pennies are created equal. Some of them are extremely rare, and not in the "I dropped it in the couch cushions" rare. We're talking about real, valuable pennies that could buy you a fancy dinner or, in the case of the 1971 penny, your own private island. Okay, maybe not an island, but you get the point. The coin we're talking about is a 1971 penny with the S mint mark. That's the San Francisco Mint. Most of the 1971 pennies were minted in Denver, so the S ones are pretty rare in circulation. But it's not just the mint mark that makes it special, it's how the coin was made. The problem is, a lot of 1971 pennies are not worth that kind of money. In 1971, the US Mint decided to change things up. They were producing billions of pennies, but the quality of some of them was, let's say, less than stellar. The 1971 penny in question has a unique error, which makes it far rarer and far more valuable than its run-of-the-mill cousins. And by the way, that error? It's an issue with the strike. This particular penny has a double die variety where the details are slightly more blurry, making it much more sought after by collectors. Some are so rare that they've sold for up to $1.40 million. Yes, you heard that right. A penny worth $1 million. Wait, this sounds like something out of a movie. Where do I even find this penny? Well, it's not as easy as just grabbing a handful of change. The rare ones are out there, but they're hiding. And that's what makes this so exciting, because there's always a chance you could be the one to uncover this hidden gem. And let me tell you, I've got a little personal story that will make you want to go digging through your couch cushions. A few years ago, I was at a yard sale. Classic, right? Just browsing, looking for random stuff. And there it was, an old jar of change. Nothing special, right? But something caught my eye. There was a 1960-something penny that looked a little off. It wasn't anything crazy, but it had this weird, almost blurry impression on the Lincoln face. I didn't think much of it, but as I've learned over the years, those little quirks can mean a lot more than you think. So, I brought it home, did a little research, and boom, turns out it was an error coin worth a couple $100. I couldn't believe it. That penny didn't turn me into a millionaire, but it did make me think, maybe I'm onto something here. It's those little details that can take a common coin and turn it into something extraordinary. Now, back to our 1971 penny. If you're lucky enough to find one of these in your change, or perhaps it's hiding in a jar from your childhood, you might just have struck gold. Well, copper actually, but you get the idea. There are a few ways to tell if you've got one of these valuable pennies. First off, check the mint mark. If it's an S, you're on the right track. But to get top dollar, you'll need to verify that it's the double die variety. The real trick to cashing in on a penny like this is making sure it's in mint condition. So if you have one of these rare pennies, get it professionally graded. A penny in pristine condition can be worth way more than one that's seen better days. Plus, don't forget to check online auction sites like eBay, where collectors are always on the lookout for rare finds like this one. First, not all pennies are created equal. And second, that 1971 penny you may have never given a second thought could be worth more than your entire coin collection combined. Imagine stumbling upon a $1 million coin hiding in your drawer. It could happen. If you enjoyed learning about this rare penny, there are a ton more tips, tricks, and strategies to discover when it comes to finding coins worth big money. I've got you covered with more content on rare coins, how to identify them, and of course, how to make some cash. So, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. I promise there's a lot more where this came from. Keep those eyes peeled for rare coins, and who knows? You might just end up with your very own jackpot. What if I told you that somewhere, right now, a penny could be worth over $1 million? Yeah, I know, it sounds like I'm messing with you. But trust me, I'm not. This isn't some fairy tale. This is real. And today, we're talking about the elusive 1967 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's making coin enthusiasts sweat, search their coin jars, and maybe even dig through the couch cushions. Stick around to find out why this tiny piece of copper could fetch you a mind-blowing $1.5 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.5 million. In 1967, something funky happened. Normally, every U.S. coin has a mint mark, a little letter on it that tells you where it was made, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and so on. But, for some strange reason, in 1967, some pennies came out of the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark at all. This mistake turned out to be a massive error that coin collectors are now hunting down like treasure. And let me tell you, if you find one of these, you might want to sit down. Imagine holding a penny that, on a good day, is worth about 1 cent. But if you've got the 1967 no mint mark, you could be holding $1.5 million in your hand. Yes, really. It's like winning the coin collector's lottery now. How did this happen? Well, here's where the story gets interesting. Back in 1967, the U.S. Mint was in a bit of a rush. They were cranking out coins like nobody's business, trying to keep up with the needs of the growing economy. But in their haste, they made a few errors. And one of those errors was, drumroll, a batch of pennies that got stamped without the mint mark. And just like that, they became one of the rarest and most valuable coins around. Honestly, it's like the mint had a bad day at work and now we're all reaping the rewards. If you've got one of these bad boys lying around, it's probably worth way more than that coffee stain on your favorite shirt. But how do you know if you have one? It's actually not that hard to spot. First things first, look for that year, 1967. If it's 1967, check the reverse side of the coin. On a typical 1967 penny, you'll see a mint mark beneath the Liberty inscription on the obverse. But for the no mint mark version, it's totally missing. That's your clue. But wait, I have like 100 pennies from 1967. Does that mean I'm sitting on a gold mine? Well, not exactly. It's not just the year. It has to be the right kind of condition, too. So, if you find one that's looking all beat up, with scratches and nicks, it might not be worth as much. But a pristine, almost uncirculated 1967 no mint mark penny? You're looking at some serious value, buddy. Now, let me share a little story from my own life. A while back, I was going through some old boxes in the attic. Because let's be honest, that's where all forgotten treasures go, right? I was just casually flipping through some old coins I had stashed away from my childhood when I came across a 1967 penny. Of course, I thought nothing of it, just another coin, another day. But something told me to look closer. I Googled it and boom, my mind was blown. Turns out, it wasn't the no mint mark penny, but that little moment gave me the push to start researching rare coins. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the potential hidden in your junk drawer or your coin collection. You never know when you're holding a potential gold mine. If you find that 1967 no mint mark penny, you could be laughing all the way to the bank. But even if you don't find one, the world of rare coins is full of surprises, and who knows what other valuable pieces you've been casually ignoring. If you're as obsessed with coin hunting as I am, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because we've got more coin tips, tricks, and strategies coming your way. Who knows? The next coin you find could be your ticket to a fortune. Don't miss out on future updates. Did you ever think you could get rich from a penny? I know. It sounds like one of those too good to be true stories, but trust me, I've got one that's not only true, it'll make you look at every penny you have in your pocket in a whole new light. That little coin in your jar could be worth a whole lot more than a cent, like millions more. Stick with me as we dive into the wild world of the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny, which today is valued at around $1.6 million. Yes, you heard that right, million. All right, let's break it down. The 1980 no mint mark penny. Sounds like a weird and rare collectible, right? But what exactly is this coin, and why is it worth so much? First off, if you're like most people, you've probably never even noticed the mint mark on your pennies. For those of us who aren't hardcore coin collectors, we typically think of a penny as just a penny, nothing special. But for some coins, it's the tiniest detail that could mean a massive difference in value. Usually, pennies have a mint mark, which indicates where they were made, either in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But here's where things get spicy. In 1980, some pennies were released with no mint mark at all. That's right, just a blank spot where you'd normally see a tiny D or S. Now, you're probably wondering, why does that make it worth $1.6 million? Well, that's because there's a serious mix-up story behind it. In 1980, pennies were supposed to be struck in either Philadelphia or Denver, but somehow, a batch of coins ended up with no mint mark, and people quickly realized how rare this was. Most of these blank mint mark pennies were quickly taken out of circulation, but not before a few slipped through the cracks. And when you hold something that rare in your hand, well, it tends to appreciate big time. But let me tell you, this coin's road to fame wasn't exactly smooth. When the 1980 no mint mark penny first hit the market, most people just didn't know what they had. I mean, imagine walking into a coin shop back then with a penny in your hand that's worth millions today. It would probably be like finding out you've been holding a rare treasure without realizing it. Can you imagine your grandpa handing you a coin from his pocket and saying, "Hey, this penny is probably worth more than my entire collection of baseball cards"? Speaking of my own penny experiences, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was going through a box of old coins that I found in my attic. I thought, maybe I'll find something cool here, and started sifting through some dusty pennies. I found an old one, kind of worn down, but the first thing I noticed was it had no mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. Was I holding the golden ticket to a treasure chest of millions? I rushed to check it out, and alas, it turned out to be a 1980 penny with no mint mark, but unfortunately, not the jackpot coin worth a fortune. It turned out to be one of the less rare versions, but still, it got me thinking about just how easily you could miss something that could be worth a lot more than you think. That day, I learned the importance of doing some research before you give up on a coin. Now, if you're like me, you're probably wondering how you can tell if your penny is worth anything. It's not like you just throw every 1980 penny into the $1,000,000 bin and hope for the best, right? Look at the front of the penny, right below Abraham Lincoln's bust. No mint mark? Well, that's the first sign. The more pristine the coin, the better. If it's been worn down with years of pocket change abuse, its value is significantly lower. If you think you have one of these elusive coins, the best way to confirm its value is to get it graded by a professional. Grading companies like PCGS or NGC can tell you if it's the real deal. Coin values fluctuate, so keep an eye on online marketplaces like eBay, heritage auctions, or other coin-selling platforms to get a feel for current market trends. If you do happen to find one of these elusive 1980 no mint mark pennies in great condition, you could be holding a small fortune in your hand. So, what's the takeaway from all this? In the world of coin collecting, it's the little details that count, and sometimes, those details can make a huge difference in the value of a coin. A penny that looks like it's worth nothing might actually be hiding a treasure. I'll be honest, after that little attic adventure, I now check every coin I come across, hoping for that big find. Who knows, you might be just one pocket penny away from a life-changing discovery. Now, if you're ready to dive deeper into the world of coins and want more tips on finding valuable coins, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an opportunity to learn more about your hidden treasure trove. And hey, if you have a crazy coin story, drop it in the comments. I love hearing about those "I had no idea" moments. You're digging around in your pocket change or rooting through an old jar of coins you've been meaning to sort. When, bam, you find something that could turn your day, heck, your life, upside down. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, let me tell you about a coin that has the potential to do just that. I'm talking about the 2013 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, a penny that's worth more than most people's entire car collection, sitting there quietly in your hand. But wait, a penny worth $1.7 million? Is this some kind of crazy fever dream? Nope. Stick with me, and I'll show you why that's not only true, but how you could be holding on to a treasure you never even knew existed. All right, let's dive into this penny's backstory. Most of us know the Abraham Lincoln penny. It's been around for ages and has been minted in various forms over the years. But the 2013 Lincoln penny, well, it's a little different. So, here's where it gets interesting. In 2013, something weird happened at the US Mint. The mint mark, those little letters that tell you where a coin was made, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco, was missing. Now, you might be thinking, so what? I've seen a lot of weird stuff in my coins. But this was no ordinary error. This was a minting mistake that nobody saw coming. You see, every penny is supposed to have a mint mark, except for the ones made at the Philadelphia Mint, which typically don't have any mark. However, in 2013, some pennies were produced without any mint mark by mistake. This happened because, for a short time, the mint had an oversight with their dies. The result? A super rare penny and a very big deal to collectors. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who cares about a penny, even if it's missing a mint mark? Let me give you an example. There's this one 2013 penny. This specific one was graded in perfect condition, minted with no mint mark. That went for a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. Yes, you heard me right, $1.7 million. I mean, I'd be over the moon if I found a $100 bill in my jeans pocket. But this is next level stuff. Speaking of weird coin finds, let me tell you about a little mishap I had. A few years ago, I thought I'd found something super valuable in a jar of pennies I'd been collecting for months. I was so sure that this one penny was worth a ton of money. I could practically hear the cash registers ringing in my head. I did a quick online search, and lo and behold, I thought I found myself a rare 1943 copper penny. For a split second, I was picturing myself retiring in luxury. But then, after a quick trip to the local coin dealer, I learned the penny was actually a 1943 steel penny coated in copper. Not nearly as valuable as I'd hoped. Moral of the story? Always double-check your coins and, more importantly, don't get too carried away by the excitement of finding something rare. But hey, that didn't stop me from continuing my coin collection journey, and that's the real point of it, right? Now, how do you know if your 2013 penny is the one worth $1.7 million? First, let me say, don't get too excited just yet. Not all of these no mint mark pennies are going to fetch that amount. But if you find one that's in top-notch condition, say, it looks like it just came off the minting press without a single scratch, it might be worth some serious cash. Coins like these are graded based on their condition, and a high-grade, error-free penny is what collectors are after. Now, you might be wondering how to tell if your penny has the missing mint mark. Well, it's actually pretty simple. Take a look at the reverse side of your 2013 penny. If there's no D or S mint mark in the lower right, you might just have a rare one. However, not every penny without a mint mark is valuable. It's got to be a true error coin in great condition. You also want to check the year, and that's important too. If you do happen to find a 2013 no mint mark penny in mint condition, and you're considering selling it, the best thing you can do is get it graded. Yes, you'll want to send it off to a professional grading service to get that certification. Trust me, it's worth the investment. A certified coin is far more valuable than one that's not graded. Once you've got that certification, you can auction it off or try to sell it to private collectors. Keep in mind, selling a coin like this isn't always an overnight thing. You might want to get in touch with a reputable coin dealer or use auction sites like eBay, but remember, don't just hand it over to anyone. Make sure they're trusted. Otherwise, you might just end up giving away a fortune. Alright, I think we've all learned a lot today about this 2013 no mint mark penny and its potential to be worth a fortune. But let's be real, even if you don't find a penny worth $1.7 million, you could still find some valuable coins just lying around. This is one of the joys of coin collecting. You never know what you'll find. I'm here to help you along this journey. Whether it's finding rare coins, learning how to spot valuable ones, or just having a good laugh along the way, I've got you covered. If you want more tips on coins worth money and strategies for building your collection, don't forget to subscribe. And hey, if you enjoyed this little dive into the world of rare pennies, hit that like button and share this video with your coin-loving friends. Trust me, they'll thank you later. You're digging through a pile of loose change, just looking for that one shiny penny. But what if I told you that one of those pennies, one from 1965, could be worth $1.8 million? Yeah, You heard that right. A penny. Not the kind of thing you'd expect to find at the bottom of your couch cushions. But that's the magic of coin collecting. There's gold, well, almost, hidden in the most unlikely places, and today we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1965 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it might be sitting in your jar right now, waiting to make you a millionaire. Stick around, because you won't want to miss this story, and I'll even share a funny little tale of my own along the way. So grab a snack, settle in, and let's talk about some serious penny business. All right, first things first, let's talk about why this particular penny is so crazy valuable. In 1965, the US Mint made a major change. They switched from producing pennies made of copper to those made of a copper-plated zinc alloy. So, the Mint began producing these new pennies, but there was one tiny problem. Some pennies from that year accidentally got made without a mint mark. Now, you might be asking, what's the big deal with a mint mark? Well, the mint mark tells you which US Mint facility made the coin, usually a letter like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But for some reason, a small number of 1965 pennies slipped through the cracks without any mint mark at all. They were essentially the rarest of the rare, and that mistake? It made them worth more than most of us could even imagine. This penny wasn't supposed to exist. It was a minting error that only came to light years later and over time. It became the stuff of coin collector dreams. After a few decades of being ignored and thrown into jars, some savvy collectors started to realize what they had in their hands. Fast forward to today, and the value of a 1965 no-mint mark penny is sitting comfortably at around $1.8 million. That's right, a simple penny from 1965, worth less than $1 when it was minted, is now valued at over $1 million. Talk about a big leap in value, right? I mean, who knew that finding a tiny flaw could lead to huge rewards? But here's where it gets even more interesting. Not every 1965 penny is going to get you that kind of payday. To be honest, the vast majority of those no-mint mark coins out there are pretty hard to come by in perfect condition. To get that sky-high price, the penny has to be in mint condition, which means it should have sharp details, no wear, and minimal discoloration. It's a rare error, and finding one in perfect condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. And let me tell you, I've been down the rabbit hole myself. A while back, I thought I might have struck gold when I found a coin in my change that looked a little off. It was a 1965 penny, and for a moment, I thought I had my ticket to the Coin Collecting Hall of Fame. I rushed over to Google to find out if I had found the one, but alas, it wasn't the fabled no-mint mark penny. Instead, it had a mint mark, just a little too faint for my eyes to see at first glance. Now, I won't lie, I was pretty disappointed. But that's part of the fun in coin collecting. It's all about the thrill of the hunt. You never know what you're going to find, and it's that feeling of discovery that keeps you coming back for more. So, how do you find one of these elusive 1965 no-mint mark pennies? Well, your best bet is to keep your eyes peeled when going through loose change. But I'd recommend checking your pennies carefully. Get a magnifying glass if you need one. And honestly, sometimes it's worth hunting through older rolls of pennies, too. While you're at it, keep an eye out for other rare coins, like 1943 copper pennies or even 1970 small date pennies. These can also be worth a lot of money. And remember, just because your penny doesn't have a mint mark doesn't mean it's worth millions. There's a lot of misinformation out there, but if you're lucky enough to find one of these rare gems, don't go rushing off to sell it at the first opportunity. Have it appraised. You want to make sure you're getting its full value. So, there you have it, the wild story of the 1965 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It's a perfect example of how a tiny, seemingly insignificant coin can become worth a fortune thanks to an error that happened years ago. But the real takeaway here is the excitement that comes from collecting rare coins. The more you learn, the more you'll realize just how much treasure is hidden in your pockets. I hope this video sparked your curiosity about coin collecting, and who knows, maybe your next trip to the grocery store will end with you finding a coin worth $1.8 million. Okay, maybe not, but hey, we can dream. If you've got any stories of your own, or if you found a rare coin and want to share, drop a comment below. And if you want more tips, strategies, and fun stories about coins, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on more tips to find hidden treasures. Imagine this. You're cleaning out your old change jar. sifting through pennies, nickels, and dimes, and then, bam, you spot something that makes your heart race. You hold it in your hand. It's a 2020 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, and just like that, you realize it could be worth a whopping $1.9 million. Yeah, you heard me right, million with an M. Sounds like something out of a treasure hunt, doesn't it? But before you start planning your vacation to the Bahamas, let's dive into the story behind this incredibly rare penny and why it's setting the coin world on fire. Stick with me for the next few minutes, because by the end of this video, you'll be looking at every penny you find with a new set of eyes. Alright, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The 2020 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. What's the deal? How can something that seems so ordinary be worth almost $2 million? To start, let me just say, if you have one of these sitting in your coin jar, you might just have struck gold, or at least the copper equivalent of it. The 2020 D penny, minted in Denver, had an issue that made it stand out like a sore thumb. See, these coins were produced during a time when the minting process was in full swing, but some of them didn't come out quite right. There was a huge error that turned this penny into a collector's dream. Some of the coins had a misalignment in the die, causing a double die reverse, which is a fancy way of saying the image on the back of the penny got stamped twice. If you've ever tried to draw something and accidentally went over the same spot twice, imagine that, but on a coin that could make you rich. So why is this penny worth so much? Well, here's the thing. Most pennies are, well, pennies. They're mass-produced, and most of them don't have anything special about them. But this particular error, due to the double stamping, is super rare. Think of it like the mint's version of a happy accident. Because of how rare these mistakes are, they catch the eyes of coin collectors who are willing to pay top dollar for them. And when one of these rare pennies popped up for auction, it sold for an insane $1.9 million. That's not a typo. One penny, a single penny, could put you on the fast track to financial freedom. If you can find it, that is. But before you start pulling all the pennies out of your wallet and checking them with a magnifying glass, let's talk about how to spot one of these gems. First, you'll want to look at the date and mint mark. It's a 2020 D, and if you don't know where the mint mark is, it's located right under Abraham Lincoln's shoulder on the obverse. That's the front of the coin. By the way, in case you're new to the coin world, the D stands for Denver, and that's where the problem started. Next, take a really close look at the back of the penny, the side with the Lincoln Memorial. If you notice a faint doubling effect, like a blurry ghost image around the details, that's your clue that you might have a winner. This double die effect isn't super obvious to the untrained eye, but trust me, when you spot it, you'll know. And once you do, you'll want to get that penny appraised ASAP. But don't go too crazy just yet. While the $1.9 million auction sale is incredibly exciting, not every 2020 D penny with a double die is going to bring in that kind of cash. There are a lot of factors that affect a coin's value, like its condition, rarity, and provenance. You might not hit the jackpot with your first find, but hey, if you've got a sharp eye and a bit of luck, you could still walk away with something pretty sweet. Now, I've got to admit, this whole idea of finding a rare penny reminds me of my own coin hunting experience. A couple of years ago, I was cleaning out some old boxes of stuff from my childhood and came across a dusty tin can. You know, the kind you throw random things in? Well, I opened it up and found a ton of coins, including a handful of pennies. I thought, nothing special here, just some old change. But then, I decided to do a quick check on one of the coins, a 1955 wheat penny. To my surprise, it was a major error coin, worth a couple $100. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the value of a penny, and always double-check what's sitting in your coin jar. You never know when you might find a treasure. If you have a 2020 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, check it out closely. Look for that double die error, and if you find one, it could be worth more than just pocket change. It could be worth a small fortune, so there you have it, folks. The 2020 D penny with the double die error. Who knew a simple coin could hold such value? If you're out there hunting for your own hidden treasures, always keep your eyes peeled for those subtle minting errors, because that penny in your change jar could be more than just spare change. It could be your ticket to a nice chunk of change. And hey, if you want more tips and tricks on how to spot valuable coins or learn about the best strategies for building a coin collection, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more juicy tips like this one. But what if I told you one of these could be worth, wait for it, $2 million? Yep, you heard that right, 2 million bucks. Stick around, because today, we're diving into the wild world of the 2000 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, this little coin might just change the way you look at spare change forever. Now, let's get into the good stuff. We've all heard that old saying, a penny saved is a penny earned. But I bet none of us thought a penny could actually earn us a boatload of cash, right? Well, that's exactly what the 2000 no-mint mark penny can do if you've got one of these in your collection. But what makes this little guy so special? I mean, it's just a regular penny, right? Well, not exactly. See, most pennies have a mint mark, indicating where they were produced, either the Philadelphia Mint or the Denver Mint. But in the year 2000, there was a weird glitch in the system. Some pennies were struck without a mint mark. And guess what? That's the gold mine we're looking for. A penny without a mint mark from 2000 is extremely rare, and some collectors out there are ready to pay big money for one. Cut to a graphic showing the difference between a regular 2000 penny and the no mint mark penny. Now, here's the kicker. This penny might look just like any other penny you've got in your collection, but because it's so rare, it could be worth up to $2 million in today's market. Yeah, I know, 2 million bucks for a piece of copper. Makes you want to go check your pockets, right? All right, I can already hear you saying, come on, that can't be right. I'd have heard about this by now. But the truth is, these no-mint mark pennies are seriously rare. Only a handful have been discovered. So, unless you're sitting on a literal gold mine of 2,000 pennies with no mint marks, you might have to do a little searching to find one. And here's the crazy part. If you do have one, make sure you don't just toss it into the vending machine for a snack. That penny is a ticket to a small fortune. Here's a little personal story. A few years back, I was cleaning out my grandmother's house after she moved into a smaller place. I stumbled upon a jar of old coins, mostly pennies, nickels, and dimes. Nothing too exciting, right? But then I found a single 2000 penny with no mint mark. I thought, it's just a regular penny, probably nothing special. So, I tossed it in my pocket and kept going. Fast forward a couple of months, and I'm scrolling through a coin collector's forum, just browsing, like the nerd I am, and bam! I see a post about this elusive 2000 no mint mark penny. Suddenly, I'm thinking, wait, I've got one of those. Long story short, I ended up doing a little research, getting it appraised, and while it wasn't the $1 million coin, it still fetched a few $100. Moral of the story? Never overlook your pennies, my friends. You never know when one might be a hidden gem. So, here's the deal. If you've got a 2000 penny lying around with no mint mark, take a closer look. You could have a small fortune in your hands. And if you don't have one, don't fret. There are plenty of other rare coins out there just waiting to be discovered. Who knows, your next garage sale or coin hunt might lead you straight to another hidden treasure. Now, if you want more tips on coins worth money, strategies for finding rare collectibles, or just some good old-fashioned coin nerdiness, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on more hidden gems, right? And hey, let's face it, who doesn't love the idea of turning spare change into cold hard cash? Hit that like button if you're ready to start your own coin collecting journey, and leave a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin. I'd love to hear about your treasure hunts. How many times have you come across a penny in your couch cushions or on the sidewalk and thought, it's just a penny. No big deal? Well, hold on to your wallets because today, I'm about to show you that not all pennies are created equal. In fact, there's one penny out there that's worth, wait for it, a whopping $2.1 million. Yeah, you heard that right. Stick around because we're diving into the world of the 1984 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be digging through your coin jar with a newfound excitement. So, let's get into it. The 1984 penny. I know, you're thinking, oh cool, a penny from the 80s, big whoop. But wait, this penny isn't just any old copper disc. You see, most coins are stamped with a mint mark that tells you where they were made. For example, a D means the coin came from the Denver Mint, and a P means it was minted in Philadelphia. But the 1984 penny we're talking about today has no mint mark now. Here's where it gets interesting. Back in 1984, There was a pretty rare production error at the US Mint, and some of the pennies came out with no mint mark at all. You're probably wondering, how rare is this? Well, it's so rare that it's believed to be one of only a few in existence. It's the kind of coin that could make your grandmother's dusty old coin jar go from meh to million-dollar baby. If you're wondering how rare this error is, imagine this. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, except that needle is made of solid gold and just so happens to be worth more than your house. Pretty wild, huh? Okay, now let's talk money because, let's be real, you're probably wondering just how much a penny like this is worth. A regular 1984 penny? Worth, like, a penny. But if you happen to come across one with no mint mark and in good condition, the value could be up to $2.1 million. And no, I'm not pulling your leg. This penny has been sold at auctions for some truly eye-popping prices. So, how do you spot one of these bad boys? Well, it's all about the mint mark. You'll want to look carefully on the reverse side of the coin, just under Abraham Lincoln's shoulder. Normally, you'll see a small letter, P, D, or S, right there. But if it's completely blank, then you've got yourself a serious contender for a trip to the Millionaire Club. Keep in mind, though, the coin has to be in really good condition for it to fetch that kind of cash. If it's been worn down from years of being tossed around in someone's coin jar or pocket, you're probably looking at a lower value. But even a somewhat worn one could still pull in some serious cash. Now, let me tell you a quick story about how I got into coin hunting. A few years back, I was going through an old change jar I had inherited from my uncle. It was full of random coins, old dimes, quarters, nickels, and of course, a bunch of pennies. I wasn't expecting anything special, but hey, I thought I'd check them out. As I sifted through, I came across an old penny that looked, well, just a little too shiny for its age. It had no mint mark. I had no idea what I was looking at back then, but I could have had a fortune in my hands. Instead, I ended up spending that penny on a pack of gum, feeling like I was in the clear with a cheap treat. Fast forward to me Googling coin errors a few months later, and, well, let's just say that penny's value would have covered a lot of gum. Moral of the story? Don't ever assume a penny is just a penny. So, there you have it. The 1984 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be sitting in your collection right now, and if it is, congratulations. You've got yourself one of the rarest coins in circulation. But even if you don't, you know what to look for the next time you're digging through your change. Coins can be way more valuable than we give them credit for, and sometimes, the smallest details can make a huge difference. If you enjoyed learning about this rare penny and want to keep up with more tips on how to spot coins worth big bucks, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on the next time I drop some knowledge on rare finds that could make you rich, or at least impress your friends at parties. Hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a new video.